just making sure that their kid is actually studying. Yeah. So back to the setup of the school. It's gated, and the fact that the most of the school was fenced off was pretty impressive, considering the fact that the school had 2 parks on the property. Students were allowed to use them, and this is, again, not like some sort of forbidden forest type of scenario. One of the parks is about 4 acres, very, very small, and the largest one was about 589 acres.
Jeez.
Yeah, so to put it in perspective how massive that park is, it takes an average student about 2.5 minutes to walk through the 4-acre park.
Right.
It takes about 6 hours to walk through 589 acres.
589 acres?
Yeah.
Central Park is 843 acres.
Oh, yeah.
This one is like more than half
Massive.
of that. That's
Wow.
crazy.
Wow. Yeah. So it's huge. I mean, the big park is huge, but again, don't get me wrong. It was designed to be somewhat usable for the students. There were these paved stone walkways. There were these trails that led through it. So if you want to go hiking or if you wanted to go sit on a bench inside the woods, students could do that. It's not like this wild, haunted, overgrown, uncharted territory that's just looming behind the school like, oh, I'm going to kidnap you. Students would actually frequently wander through the park looking for a quiet, peaceful place to put down a blanket and to study. Now, on October 14th, a 15-year-old student by the name of Hu Xingyu, let's call him Xing was not looking for a peaceful place to study. Instead, on October 14th, he walked into those woods and he never came back out alive. The last time that he was seen alive was October 14th, 2022 at 5:49 p.m. Xing was seen walking into his dorm building. He checked the time. He had about 10-15 minutes max before his next study hall class. So his next study hall was at 6:20 p.m. And the class technically starts at 6:20 p.m., but the teacher wanted all of the students to arrive 15 minutes early. So truly, he only had about 10 minutes before he had to make his way over to the school building. He did not go into his room. Maybe he didn't want to lay down if he has to get right back up. So instead, he goes to the 5th floor of the dorms and walks out onto the balcony. So they've got this little mini rooftop area.
Wait, where is he walking from?
So he walked from the school building back to his dorm building. And he's got like 10 minutes left, you know? So he's
So
inside
he's
of his
supposed to walk back to the school building because he has a class in 10 minutes.
a study hall. But instead, he walked all the way to the dorm building, walked to the 5th floor, and went out onto the balcony. Now, this balcony overlooks the forest/park behind the dorm building, and he's just standing there alone, staring out into the woods. So he spends about 2 minutes there, and CCTV does see him heading out at 5:51 p.m. So we see him walking to the balcony and then walking out at 5:51. He was just there for like 2-3 minutes. That's it. So now he's like, okay, I gotta cross the small park to get to the main school building to show up for my study hall. And he's seen walking on the CCTV cameras at a somewhat leisurely pace. He doesn't seem rushed, which he's not late, so he doesn't have to be. He doesn't seem angsty. He just seems like he's enjoying his nice little walk. He turns into the park, and that is the last time anyone has ever seen him. It took a little while for people to start panicking. The students were expected to be at the study class 15 minutes early because there were always late students. So usually the students would even be late for that. The students would come 5 minutes before the class, which is fine as long as the teacher can start the class on time. She didn't care. Now, Xing was not early. He didn't even make it when the class was supposed to start. But even then, Teacher A, this is a fake name, she always knew that there's at least like one student who shows up super, super late, like 20 minutes after class has already started. So Teacher A thought it was just strange though, because Xing was never that student. He was never the one that showed up late. He was always early to class. She tries to focus on her lesson and didn't really start worrying until about 30 minutes into her lesson, and she realizes, wow, he's still not here. Now, like I said, this is not college where students can opt to not show up for certain classes or study halls. Xing is supposed to be here and he's not, so there's a problem. She knew something wasn't right. She excused herself, went into the hallway, pulls out her phone, and starts talking. She starts placing calls to administrators, other people. She's like, hey, can you guys go check for Xing in his room? Maybe he fell asleep, but he's supposed to be at study hall. For whatever reason, the students in the class said that they felt something was off. They felt like something was amiss. The way that she was outside for so long talking on the phone, the energy was just strange. I mean, oftentimes you can imagine that kids skip class because they took a nap, they fell asleep, or they lost track of time, whatever excuse. But it felt amiss, okay? Eventually, it was announced to the class and administrators that Xing was missing. He wasn't in class. The administrators went to his room to check for him there. He wasn't there. Found it empty of Xing. Nothing was moved or packed. In fact, all of Xing's belongings were still there. So his phone, money, wallet, watch, everything valuable and important was left in that room. The only two things that they could consider missing were his student ID and the recording pen that he took everywhere. So this little recording pen was something that he recently bought, and he would bring it into all of his classes and record all of the lectures so that he could bring it home, import it, and listen to it over and over and over again as a form of studying. That was it. Those two things were gone. Oh, and Xing was gone. Now, the school does not immediately call Xing's parents right away because, I mean, imagine they call every parent to tell them that their child is missing when in reality, they're playing hooky, they're taking an extra long bathroom break, they're making out in the woods. Like, you don't know, right? Instead, they focused a ton of their energy in searching all of his friends' dorms and all over the dorm building and the school building for Xing. And it wasn't until they were absolutely certain that he was nowhere to be found that they made the call to his parents. He was last seen at around 6 p.m., His parents received a call at around 11:21 p.m. Mr. Hu? This is Teacher A, your son's study hall teacher. Xing didn't make it to study hall today, and he's not in his room either, and we couldn't find him anywhere on campus. He did attend the last classes, so I'm sure wherever he went, it can't be too far, you know? But it's just been a few hours, so we wanted to alert you. Now, Xing's family, they live 3 hours away from the school. His dad and his aunt, they get into the car, they rush over. They get there around 2 a.m. That's as fast as they could be. Xing's mom, on the other hand, she worked in a completely different province, so think working in a completely different state. She couldn't get to the boarding school until about 11 a.m. the next morning. So the whole family, they arrive, and they're rightfully nervous, they're rightfully upset. I mean, like, what do you mean he's gone missing? I mean, the whole reason that we sent him to a private boarding school and pay money every single semester, like, isn't that part of what you guys are supposed to do? Make sure that the kids are safe, or at least accounted for? Like, what on earth are you talking about? He's gone. So the family speaks to everyone, Xing's teachers, his classmates, friends, anyone that might have seen them that day, and nobody was a great amount of help. All they mentioned was, I mean, he was fine. Yeah, I mean, nothing out of the ordinary. You know, I didn't notice anything strange. He didn't seem like he was acting strange. I didn't see anyone following him. I didn't see anything alarming. Yeah, just seemed like a normal day. Xing's family, they start getting frustrated because there is a lack of information here. The teachers are like, we don't know. He just didn't show up anymore. They're like, we are not communicating. I feel like we're not even speaking the same language. So they print a ton of missing posters for Xing, place them all over the school. They had his picture in big, bold red letters. It read, missing person, 15-year-old male. No device with him that can help him communicate, only has a recording pen with him. He was last seen wearing a white t-shirt and a black zip-up hoodie. Short hair, glasses, and was wearing black pants with white stripes down the side. If you have any information that leads to him being found, we have a reward of $7,000. Now, Xing's family, they stand at the massive gates of the boarding school, and anytime a staff member, a student, a parent, anyone, a passerby, a regular civilian, they would pass out these posters. They place these posters all over the outside of this boarding school so that just regular civilians with no association to the school would also be on the lookout. The family was desperate. The police do get involved pretty quickly, and okay, even though the police get involved, the way that they're looking for Xing is very different. I think that the parents wanted them to look for Xing with such urgency, and it would be classified as like a criminal case. Xing's family is like, you need to look for him as if someone kidnapped him. However, the police went in there and looked for Xing as a missing persons case. So they did this with a little bit more leisure.
But missing person is...
Yeah, so I guess in China, it's classified as a missing person just means we don't know where they are. Does not mean that something bad happened to them. In order for it to be classified as missing persons criminal case, it means there needs to be some sort of hint that someone kidnapped them, someone took them, they got in trouble and something happened, versus missing persons is just straight up, we don't know the location of this person.
Okay.
They could have willingly run away. Yeah.
I guess it's all very similar, huh?
To the US, yeah. I mean, we just classify it as like a runaway versus a missing persons, but same thing, right? So the teacher, police, and Xing's family, they searched the entire school property with the help of civilian volunteers. They look in every single room on the grounds. They check the pools, attics, roofs, everywhere. I mean, they went the extra mile. They drained septic tanks just in case. A team of searchers flew drones over the grounds to run 3D imaging and scans. They brought in drones that did thermal scanning to look for him in the woods. Again, nothing showed up. You're guys seeing where I'm getting like, that's weird? Okay, it's weird. Civilians volunteered to search, and the local community, they really came together to help. A lot of people said people searched as if it was their own son that had gone missing. It could be pouring down rain, and people would be bringing in their own resources. They would come in with parkas, rain jackets, walking sticks. It was said that at the biggest size, the search party was like 2,000 people big. So clearly, this is not a half-assed search. I mean, keep this in mind because his body is found in a place that should have been so easy. So I'm going to show you a map for the visual people, but if you guys are just listening to the audio, it's like the next building over. The shed, I know it sounds like it's way out in the woods. I think it was 0.2 miles away. It's really not that deep into the woods. And it's a building. It's like right there. People know of its existence. It's not like this forbidden, like, oh, nobody knows what the shed existed. The students had no idea this shed was there. So they search everywhere. Everywhere. They're draining tanks. They're combing through school security footage, but nothing seemed amiss. When they see Xing, he's wearing a white shirt, black zip-up jacket, walking out of the dorm building at 5:51 p.m. He heads to his study class, and that was the last footage of him. Then poof, nothing. He's not seen ever again. He's not seen at the campus gates. He's not seen leaving the grounds. He's not seen coming back to grab something. He's just gone. The leader of the rescue said, it's as if he vanished into thin air. We're not going to give up, but we have no clue. They had already conducted 4 cross searches covering 90 acres of land, 12 buildings, 884 rooms, 11 underground pipes, 10 septic tanks, 10 water heaters, 9 water reservoirs, 2 lakes, 2 parks, 2 sports centers, 1 garbage dump, 2,238 residences near the school, 589 acres of woodland south of the campus, 226 temples, 159 businesses, 124 miles of riverbank, 72 ponds, 16 miles of railroad, and 25 nursing homes.
Wow.
They followed and eliminated 378 tips and cleared all the school personnel and students, including the 98 parents that were residing with their children on campus. They did not find a single trace of Xing. They didn't even find a goddamn clue. They found nothing that suggested foul play or even a runaway. I mean, that's the thing. They didn't find evidence of either thing. They found no evidence. None. Which meant that it was going to remain a missing persons case in the eyes of the law, which is not what the family wanted. Missing persons cases in China, like I said, are equivalent to runaway cases in the US. They are not treated with nearly the same amount of urgency that criminal missing persons cases get, which, you know, it's like that here. So the Hu family, they're broken from the lack of nothing has happened. Their son is missing. They're doing all of this and nothing was found. Like the lack of findings and progress made it so difficult for them to even feel hope. To them, it just didn't make sense. There's a lot of anger there too of like, I sent my kid to this boarding school to be safe and now you're telling me you have no idea where he went? Xing's mom was also dealing with a lot of guilt. She said originally she wanted to be in the boarding school with Xing. She practically begged him, but he turned her down. And it's not like they had a bad relationship. They got along really well. But he's 15, and for the first time ever, he's like, Mom, I just want to experience a little bit of something different. Maybe next year you can move in. But it's my first semester here. I want to see. So the months leading up to the move-in, his mom would ask, are you sure I could cut fruit while you study and I could clean up for you? Mom, it's fine. You're 3 hours away. I'm going to be good. So even though Xing's mom was a little bit sad, she let him have his space and there was nothing that made her concerned for him or worried for him. Like Xing was a good kid. Both his parents, his older brother Tao, they adored him. Side note, his older brother is like 15 years older, so it's like his second dad, basically. Tao was adored Xing. Anytime he made a little bit of extra pocket money with his job, he would buy Xing new clothes, new shoes. I mean, they got along so well. Everyone that knew Xing, not just his family members, they said, yeah, that's the type of kid that you would trust to be alone in a boarding school. Like other kids, you'd be like, oh, I don't know if they're going to study. I don't know if they're going to listen to the teachers. But Xing, yeah. Neighbors remember seeing him walk 30 minutes to his grandmother's house a couple times a week on a regular basis so that, because she was wheelchair bound, and he would take her on these long scenic walks. He would run and buy groceries for her. He would clean up the entire house. He would do all the chores. And when he wasn't doing that, he was typically perpetually hunched over a math textbook. He's like every parent's dream kid. For example, one time their town was completely flooded. The water was coming up to people's knees. It was really flooded. So school, for some reason, was not canceled. Do you guys not cancel school often in China?
If it doesn't affect the study, then no, yeah.
Really? Like if it snows and the roads are a little icy?
I mean, it depends on the city. Some city are used to it, you know?
Yeah, I just remember growing up in the South, it's like one snowflake falls, school is canceled for a week.
Yeah, for Georgia, yeah.
Yeah. No, school for some reason was not canceled, and all the other students are trying to talk to their parents about this newfound discovery of the dangers of floods. They're like, Mom, Dad, I gotta sit you down and tell you floods are so dangerous. We walk out there. Do you know how much bacteria is in that water? We can't go to school. We can't. I know it's not canceled, but I can't go to school. They're like trying to tell their parents that. Not Xing. Xing put on his backpack and his neighbors said they were shocked to see him splashing onto the streets running to school. Same as always. He was like one of the few students that showed up. Even when his parents gave him allowance, he would just put it away into this little box. And they're like, please, just use this money. Go watch a movie with your friends. Like, you got to put down the math textbook. We're thinking that you're becoming a little bit antisocial. And he refused. When he felt like he had saved up enough, he would present this little box of cash to his grandma, and she would be so upset. Absolutely not. I'm not taking that money. So when his grandma refused, he would use the money to pay for his own school fees. Like, what kind of kid is selfless enough to do this? And it's not like the family was financially struggling at the time. It wasn't a situation where they were emptying out the last of their pockets to send their son to school. He just felt really guilty to use it. I mean, they just had a little bit of extra and gave it to him. That's it. So it really doesn't seem like the type of kid to run away or skip boarding school because he doesn't like the studies or get involved with the wrong type of groups. The extent of his wild streak or his rebellious teenage years was watching anime. And that's not even rebellious. That's just called de-stressing. And of course, he never watched so much that it would affect his grades. Like, he would finish all of his studies before he watched anime. Like, this was their son, and now he's missing. And the authorities were hinting at the fact that maybe Xing had walked off the campus by his own free will. They argued that maybe Xing just got tired of school and left. He's over it. He doesn't want to study anymore. He snapped. That was the best explanation that existed. And the family was like, no, absolutely not. They argued that is logically incomplete. You can't just say that because you can't find anything else. You can't be like, because we can't find evidence of anything else, we think this is the theory. If you want to argue that he walked out of campus, you need a witness or you need evidence to make you believe this theory. Something that would bolster this waterless, baseless theory. And it's, what are you saying? It doesn't make sense, okay? So a month into the search, the Hu family lawyered up and released a statement. The statement was titled, Suspicion of a Campus Burial Case in Shaanxi. So they were requesting immediate criminal investigation. A campus burial case meant that the family was terrified that the school was trying to bury his case and that Xing was literally buried on campus. They believed that his body was being hidden on campus because it's like a locked room situation. Nobody saw him leave, no cameras caught him leaving, so he must still be on campus. Now, side note, there was a campus burial case that had taken China by storm recently. In 2019, a body was found buried in a high school's field track. It was discovered that a supervisor for doing the school renovations, he had gone missing during work one day. That was like years ago, decades ago. They found his body. So the case, reminded people that schools are not as safe as we think they are or even want them to be.
Are you talking about the playground case?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, okay, so
was famous.
That's a different case,
Oh,
I
that's
think.
a different one.
There's a lot of it was a playground where they were doing renovations and they dug it up and they found a body.
Yes.
Yeah. And just the idea that these kids are like bouncing around, hanging out, having fun on top of a dead body. Like, how does a dead body even end up buried under a playground at a school?
I think it was a construction they were doing years ago, and then there's a conflict between, was it a principal or a teacher or something?
Yeah, and the
they
contractor.
they just went ahead and pushed them into the ground and piled it up
Yeah,
for
so
like 20 years.
I believe the principal was working with the construction company and overpaying them. So they were saying, oh, if the construction actually costed like $50,000, they would overpay them to $100,000 and then split that extra profit. One of the teachers found out.
And they killed it.
Yeah,
buried
because
it.
the construction company and the principal had relations.
Wow.
Yeah. I've talked about this before if you guys follow us on YouTube, but before I met my fiance, I went through a phase in my life where I struggled with debt, okay? I had credit card debt and I was so stressed out by it that I thought I could shove all of that into the closet, and if I don't look at it, it doesn't exist, right? It only made the problem worse, I tell you. It only made it worse because, yeah, duh. But I guess I just didn't even know where to start. It was such a painful process for me, and it doesn't have to be for you. I wish there was a better solution back then for me. But if you're in that place right now, let me tell you, PDS Debt. PDS Debt has customized 0% interest options for anyone struggling with credit cards, personal loans, collections, or medical bills. If you're making payments every month on your debt and your balances aren't going down, this program is for you. PDS Debt rolls all of your payments into one low 0% interest monthly payment, and everyone with over $10,000 or more in debt qualifies. There's no minimum credit score required, bad and fair credit accepted. Like, where was PDS Debt years ago? Because this would have truly made my life so much less stressful. You can save thousands in interest and fees and pay off your debt in a fraction of the time. And like, look, little tip from me, ignoring it does not make it go away. In fact, when I first started tackling the problem, it felt so good and empowering. And right now, with rising interest rates and high cost of living, it's the time to finally take that initiative. So stop waiting and start saving with your own custom debt savings options from PDS Debt. PDS Debt is offering free debt analysis to our listeners just for completing the quick and easy debt assessment at pdsdebt.com/mango. That's pdsdebt.com/mango. Take back your financial freedom today by visiting pdsdebt.com/mango. Now, the Hu family and their legal team felt like there was no way that Xing could have just walked off campus without one of the security cameras catching it, or even without a witness. And if that's what the school and authorities were alleging, that that's what he did, then there's some corruption. There's some sort of foul play involved. They believed that the security tapes from the school had been edited, and they were already upset because the camera situation at this school was bizarre. This school had over 100 cameras, but only 6 family hosts. So think of a camera host as a big family. Every single one of those 100 plus cameras belonged to a host camera. So they're all clumped together, and each host would cover a particular area of the property. And some hosts might be in the school building. Some of them are in the dorm building. Some of them are outside. Some of them are in the park area at the gates. The one host that conveniently wasn't recording at the time covered the area around the main entrance of the school. The family believed if the administrators believed that Xing walked out on his own free will, show us the footage. But maybe they can't because the footage would show something else entirely. So that's why it wasn't working. So the family had a lot of distrust. The family suspected that someone had messed with the cameras before they were turned over to the authorities. Why would they think that? So each person that signs to watch the CCTV cameras or to review them, they have to sign into a monitoring log. And this is like in the system, so it's not like a piece of paper, right? It's in the system. And out of the 6 camera hosts, 5 camera host logs were missing.
What?
It had been like wiped, meaning like we have no idea who signed in to view or alter any of those 5 camera hosts. And those cameras stopped recording due to a glitch. So after he was seen walking out of the dorm and into the park where there's no security cameras, the cameras stop recording, and they don't start recording until around 1 a.m. the next morning.
You're kidding me.
Yeah,
From the moment he went missing.
pretty much.
How did they explain that?
Yeah, they said it was a glitch. Okay, it was like an hour after he went missing. They're like, it's a glitch. That could mean that someone could have tampered with the footage from at least dozens of cameras, but we don't know because these logs are gone. And even the one camera that still had their logs left, that's the one that wasn't working. The one near the main entrance. And that one didn't even start recording until way later on. So, I mean, are you kidding? Like, we can't even see who is going in and out of this school at the time that he goes missing. And is that just a weird coincidence or is something else going on? And another thing, there are no cameras in the campus parks. A lot of netizens just felt like that was strange. If anything, that's like a big amount of space you would want to monitor, especially when you have high school students, right? I mean, yeah, you want to monitor the classrooms, but the parks, come on. So the family's attorney argued and begged for the public to pressure the school and police into finding Xing. They said there is no video footage of the school entrance and no sign of him climbing up school walls and escaping. It's like he evaporated into thin air. It's hard not to suspect that this is a criminal case and not just some sort of disappearance. It is possible that this is a school burial case. We hope that the offender can turn themselves in because that is the last and only way out. Both of Xing's parents quit their jobs to focus on finding their son. They argued, yes, there are no signs of foul play, but there's no evidence that he left on his own accord. We need to push this to be a criminal investigation so we can find out where he is. Things are not adding up. Mrs. Hu held a press conference, and it was very hard to not sympathize with her. She had Xing at 40 years old, and she just wanted to do everything to give him, like, the most happy upbringing. And then this happens?
今天过年了，心雨，你在哪里？所有的都回家了，大大小小、老老少少都回家了，唯独就是你没有回来，孩子，你是不是还在学校里？你在学校里怎么就出不来了呢？现在放学了，别的孩子都接回家了，我的心雨在这个志愿学校。今天大家都放假了，我也想把我的孩子接回家，但是我来了见校长也见不了。
Netizens came together and they start publicly supporting Mrs. Hu. They even push her to start her own TikTok Douyin account. The account was called Xing's Mother Looking for Her Son. She just posted video after video begging the public to help her. She wanted to bring her son home. And in the beginning, everything was very understandable. But of course, in desperate moments, I think that humans have a tendency to do things that are a bit, maybe out of character, maybe a bit questionable. I think everyone understood where she was coming from. It didn't necessarily make it okay, but Mrs. Hu starts accusing random teachers of being involved in her son's disappearance. She was originally pointing the finger at the study group teacher, Teacher A. She explained that she had left the room with her phone for a long period of time, and the students claimed that she was acting strangely. She also stated that Teacher A not calling Xing's parents immediately was a very strange thing to do. But I don't know. I find that a pretty reasonable reaction. Like I said, you can't just call parents every time a kid doesn't show up to class because you would have a lot of disgruntled parents. I don't know if I would have waited 5 hours, but I think it's not too unreasonable. Now, netizens disagreed with her slandering a teacher without any concrete evidence, but it's hard to turn on the Hu family. I mean, they would camp outside the school gates holding up signs that read, "Give me back my son." Like, it was heartbreaking. If you see the deterioration, Mrs. Hu looked like she had lost 50 pounds in a month. I mean, she looked frail. She looked weak. Bystanders could do nothing but watch. I mean, she was fixated on finding her son. The family hired professional rescue canine teams from the other side of China to come and search the campus. The dogs only signaled near the stairs of the dorm building. Keep that in mind. But otherwise it checked out. It cleared. It looked normal. The security footage in that area didn't show any sort of weird happenings either. The family hired a security engineer to help them go through the school security system to see if it was tampered with, to get some sort of clue. If her son walked out fine, which way did he go? Did he leave with someone? Did someone stop and talk to him? Like, was he taken? That's what she wants to know. Once it was revealed that she was going around hiring her own detectives, people start speculating. Wait, why would she have to hire her own detectives if the school is helping? Maybe the school is not helping. Maybe they're not cooperating. Why would the school not want to cooperate? Netizens started spreading a rumor that Mrs. Hu was offered $300,000 to keep quiet about the case. The rumor started because she stopped posting on Douyin. It's unproven to this day if this offer was made, but it's clear that she never took it if it was, because she continued to post later on. She also said that she spent her own savings to hire these third-party professionals. It was also discovered that there were 13 cars that were in and out of that school around the time that Xing vanished. They were all cleared by the police. But one of them was an SUV that was caught parked near the cafeteria, near where Xing was walking. And the Hu family believed that this SUV could be the answer to all their questions. Maybe Xing was put into that SUV, driven out of the school, and that's why you don't see footage of him leaving. Again, the police tell them, listen, we cleared every single driver, including the SUV driver. But the Hu family do not trust the police. Like, what was the car doing there? Fine, then tell us. What if the car was the one that carried our son off campus? Like, how do we know? Finally, near Christmas of 2022, Mrs. Hu posts on Douyin. She rants about the only way that she could talk to the principal was through social media because he refused to get in contact with her, to even talk to her. Yeah, you better believe that set off netizens, okay? It was like a bombastic side-eye. Like, what are you talking about? The principal, where your son went missing on his campus, refuses to cooperate with you? Very strange. She publicly asked the principal a series of questions. 1. Principal, you were off the day that my son disappeared, so you were not on campus. But at 5:51 p.m., you were seen rushing back to the school. Did you rush back to the school to mess with the security tapes? 2. Why was there an SUV parked near the cafeteria? The SUV wasn't caught on your security cameras, but did you know that the SUV was caught on a different camera? The SUV was sitting there for about 6 minutes. Was Xing taken away in that SUV? 3. This is to the SUV driver. I want to ask you, did you take my son? 4. Do all the teachers here still even have a heart? I believe you carried my son to the cafeteria gate and into that SUV. So I think what the Hu family at this point were believing was that something might have happened to Xing at the school. Maybe bullies had hit him, maybe an accident had occurred, maybe a teacher had abused him, maybe he died suspiciously and they wanted to get rid of all the evidence. Because a death on campus is probably worse than a disappearance, because a disappearance you could say, well, it was a troubled teen who wanted to run away. Whereas a death, I mean, a lot of parents would pull their kids from this private school. You have to remember, it's not even a public school. They get all their funding from tuitions. They need parents to trust this establishment. 5. Question to the principal and the SUV driver. Where did you take my son? Now, most netizens were supportive, but it felt like Mrs. Hu was unraveling online. They commented, Mama Hu, just please take care of yourself, okay? Leave it to the police. Side note, the police did investigate the SUV driver and they said that it was completely normal. He's cleared. But that doesn't stop the internet from doing what the internet does best. Random accounts start popping up alleging some sort of relationship to the investigation and stating that the SUV driver was guilty of murder and was currently confessing to the crimes. Social media ran with it, reposting that one random person's video, and that video got about like 800,000 views in like an hour or two.
Wow.
Yeah, it was later proven to be false, but the impact was massive. Even mainstream media started running with it without fact-checking, just stating that the SUV driver was the killer. The case flew to the top of online public attention. I mean, this is really when it catapulted, because not only did mainstream media say they found the killer, but they also had to backtrack and be like, just kidding, the SUV driver has been cleared. So now all of China is like, wait, what is going on over there? Why is the even media forking it up so bad? Now, most netizens are good people that just want to help. There's going to be a few rotten ones in the mix. So with this case, there were 2 primary rotten ones. One man who claimed to know privileged information about what happened to Xing. He stated that he was trying to bring Xing home and he just needed to get in contact with Xing's family to pass along all this vital information. Netizens tagged the Hu family till finally Xing's uncle got in contact with this strange man on the internet. The man was looking for 5 minutes of fame. He told the family the only way he could help bring Xing home was if they told him everything about the investigation. All the confidential privileged information. The family and the rest of the public had an inkling that this guy just wanted all this privileged information so he could be the first one to break the news online and become some sort of breaking news crime reporter.
Wow.
Just wanted the views. The family rejected his help and this man lashed out. He went from being pro-Hu family to the biggest hater of the Hu family. He went online to allege and accuse the family of faking this disappearance so that they could get some sort of money or compensation from the school. He even accused the family of being the reason that the son disappeared. They were willing to sacrifice the son so that they could get paid out from the school. Another really shitty situation to come out of this was, and this makes me really scared for the future, someone deep-faked Mrs. Hu. Using her videos online, they deepfaked her face and voice and started multiple new accounts where they were using the AI deepfake, asking netizens for donations.
Wow.
A lot of people donated. Mrs. Hu had to come out and state on the record, we did not ask netizens for donations. We will never ask netizens for donations. Thank you all for supporting this case, but do not be fooled. We want to establish this as a criminal case. That's what we want. We want the truth. That's it. So the whole case was turning into a mess. But regardless of the public attention to the case, there was a lot of pressure on the school, the city, and the government to figure out what the hell happened to Xing. Netizens started doubting even the efficacy of the searches. They wrote online, usually when a search party is that large, like 2,000 people large, they already have some sort of clue or purpose for the search. It's well organized. It's not just, hey guys, we're just going to go out into the field and look around. But as for Xing's case, there's no leads, no proof, no organization. It feels like he went missing inside the school. If they really wanted to search, they should start from the teachers, students, and parents that were in the school. There are still suspicions that the CCTV camera was tampered with. They should start with the security guards. Plus, the places that were searched besides all the houses or all the public places that people pass through each day. Xing has been gone for almost 90 days. If traces of Xing were there, they would have been discovered a long time ago. So basically saying, even right now, the police are searching random places that don't even help the search. To make matters worse, at the end of the year, at the end of 2022, when Xing's mom went to the campus to search more for her son, they would not let her inside. She told netizens, my son is in that school and I want to bring him home, but now we can't even enter the school. I want to see the principal, but I can't even do that. They won't pick up any of my calls. This enraged the public even further, which resulted in reporters and civilians lining up at the school gates to get information and to protest. The boarding school went into intense lockdown. Absolutely no outsiders were allowed inside the school gates. Reporters noted that the school was putting up new barbed wire fences along their eastern fence, which I get it. You want to protect your students, but overall, not great for optics. The school just kept finding itself in hot water. Immediately after, students had leaked messages that they were getting from administrators of the school, and the school was telling all the students and family members, keep quiet about this case. They stated rather bluntly that any student found discussing this case, even amongst each other, would be expelled.
What?
Which feels like they're hiding something to netizens. Netizens took to Weibo to argue, if we don't find this kid, all of China will come for this school. The police and the school kept arguing that Xing must have left school because he was unsatisfied with school. He was a runaway. Netizens argued, okay, give us clear footage of him leaving or else we don't believe you anymore. Now, we slowly start charting into the conspiracy territory here, but Xing's mom posted a few pictures of notes that Xing had written in the margins of his school books. Most of it looked like random scribbles or doodles, like the kind that you would draw when you're bored in class, but some netizens went overboard in trying to analyze every single piece of writing, like every single scribble suddenly became a clue. It became certified evidence, like literally every clue. I'll give you an example. On one page, he wrote lamb skewers. So netizens suspected that he had skipped class to eat lamb skewers and that he was kidnapped at a lamb skewer shop. They all tried to figure out where all the lamb skewer shops in the general vicinity were. And like, okay, as far as investigative work, that one isn't that bad. I can see where you're going with it. It makes sense. But then there were the weird ones. Like he had written down numbers and some of the numbers weren't that clear, but there was a 4 and a 7 close to each other. So a suchi, which apparently if you use wordplay, it can also mean period of death.
Yeah, okay.
So they thought that maybe he was being stalked or he knew that he was going to die soon, that someone was creeping him out. The other numbers were 140, 50, 7,000, and 6,000. For some reason, netizens started speculating that he was burned to death, and those were the temperatures of the furnace that he had been burned in. Yeah. I think it was around this point that netizens caught themselves going too far and they start reminding everyone, let's reel it back in and stop these baseless rumors because we're becoming unhinged. But because everybody is getting so wrapped up in these conspiracies, the case becomes bigger than it ever was before. I mean, it was gaining so much attention that it started backfiring and harming the investigation. The Hu family was asked by the police department to sign a confidentiality agreement, meaning that they cannot release any more new information about the case unless the police release it first. The family agreed. They did not care. They just want to find their son. It's not like they're doing this for social media clout. And for a while, it was crickets. Until Chinese-American detective Li Chengyu gave his 2 cents on the case and the media went into this feeding frenzy. So if you don't know, Chengyu is a huge, huge name in the detective field. He is a famous criminal forensic expert in America. He's Chinese, though.
He's a legend.
In China.